Good evening, guys. So here today we will discuss about the singleton class. What is singleton class and why we use singleton class? So singleton class is a class which allows you to create only one object at a time. And the main use of singleton class is whenever we want like it helps us to save the memory and maintains the consistency across the application. And we use singleton class when we want only one object to control the share resources. And after that, now here we are trying to create the object of that employee class from outside of that employee class, which is present here, employee driver class. So here employee is a different class and employee driver is a different class. There is no any is a relationship and not other things, right? So here what the main thing is, employee class is separate and employee driver class is separate. And here inside that employee driver class I am able to create the object, right? Employee e1 equals to new employee, right? So here I am able to create the object of that employee class from outside the class, outside that employee class. Like now I am here in the employee driver class, right? And the employee class is separate, but still I am here able to create the object of that employee class. Now if you try to access the hash code e1 dot hash code, if you try to access that hash code of that reference variable classes objects, here we are able to see the hash code of that classes, that is different hash codes. Means every time new object is going to be created inside the heap area, and the hash code of that object is like that. Here in the output console screen we are able to see. Now, and to avoid that problem, like every time we are initializing the object, like every time we are getting the new address of the object, and we are using singleton class to avoid that avoid that multiple objects of the same class. If the object is already created, then user will get the same value every time. And if the object is not created already, means object has null value, that is one reference variable has null value, then that reference variable will come inside will right. Means for that we are writing one condition also, like in get instance method we are writing one condition, that is if object has null value, then it enters inside the if block and returns the object. Means reinitializing that object with the reinitializing that variable reference variable with the new object, like I will show here. Now we will comment out this one and we are moving forward. Like in employee class in employee class we will create the construct. So basically how we are creating the constructor, right? Private employee, what happens here? Private employee, what is the error here? Syntax error token. Private, right? It is delete this token. Why? Like, but we want to make it private, no? Then what is that error? No, there is also no error. Employee, this is the reference variable. Huh? Arey yaar. Okay. Here we have created one private constructor, and the purpose of creating that constructor private is um, no one directly can create the object of the employee class from outside of that employee class. So that is why we are creating the constructor as private. And here we create one variable which is static, private static, and which is of employee type. Means this is a reference variable. E is the reference variable of employee type, which has a data type employee, so that it it is able to store the store any kind of data which is of employee type, right? And this one is a static. And why we make it as a static, the reason behind it is we make it as static because we don't want to create non-static members. Because like if we create non-static members, then that time we have to create the object of that class, and we avoid that problem. So in order to overcome that problem, we make it as static. Now they e does not have any value, it has null inside it. So and private members are accessible within the class, not from outside of that class. So now we are creating one method, public public static, which is of employee type. The method return type should be employee, so that it can be it will return the value of employee type, and will be stored inside the that e variable employee type. And get instance, the method name is get instance. It can be anything. The method must return a result of type employee. Yes, here it is showing the error because we have not written anything. uh, if we want to overcome this, like simply returns e, it will now uh, now we are creating this method static, so that we are able to access that method here, right? We will backspace this, and here employee java. Now get instance.java. Here I just want to create the object, like main method. I will write just simply how to create object that we all know. E1 we will write here, e1 equals to uh, wait for a while, e1 equals to, I will teach you here. In that in that employee get instance method, we are doing one thing, like if, like uh, here we are using the main purpose of the singleton method, a singleton class. That is, we have to create only one object, right? So for that one object, if the value is already assigned to that object, if the value is already assigned to that object, like if e equals to null, then and then only you are the controller will enters in our if block, right? Then we have to initialize the value of that object, right? E equals to new employee. Done. New employee. And after that, now returns e. And here we are able to create the object of that class, like means to load the non-static members or static members. Here the constructor is also the non-static, right? Constructor does not have any return type. Always you should know it, you should have knowledge about that concept. Okay, so now here that is the reference variable that we have created, which is of employee type, will be able to store the address of that new employee. Like means the address means, by using that new employee, we are creating the object of that employee class, and which is stored inside the e variable, which is the reference variable, and which is of type employee type, right? Here if e has null, like we are not initializing the value to the e, still now we are not initializing the value inside the e, right? Then e has null value already inside it. Like in non-primitive data type, if you are not using if you are not initializing the values, then that time by default in non-primitive data type in non-primitive type of variable, the null value is going to be stored there. So now currently in current state, e has null value inside it. And after that, the condition will get satisfied, and once the condition is will get satisfied, that is true, then controller will come inside the if block and initializing the value, that is address of that new employee inside that e. And once he initialize the value inside e, and after the completion it will comes out of that block and returns e. And where it will be and where it will return the e, it will return the e here, because we are going to call that value here. E employee e1 equals to employee dot get instance, employee dot get instance. And here we are able to store that value, that is here we are not creating the employee object of employee class. That is, now you are getting the point that what is the purpose of today's lecture. Like employee class is here and employee driver class is here. In employee class we are creating the object, right? We are creating object means we are initializing the value to the reference variable e, which is of employee type, which we is declaring here. And here, that is outside of employee class, the employee driver class is present. And in employee driver class we are able to uh, we are able to create the object of that employee class indirectly. And and each and every time it will returns the same value, same address. Like here, if you try to run this program, not printing the statement, no? Now if we are trying to access the e1 value, it will generate one. Yes, that is that's the two string type of syntax here. Here the last one is the hash code. Like I will show you the proper hash code. Now you are able to see the hash code here. That is the hash code of that e1, which is means the value which is stored inside the e1. And here, if we try to create another object, equals to employee, like in, now I will explain here again. There is one this one is the employee e2 type, right? Employee e2 means employee type of variable, employee is an data type of that variable, means it will return the employee type of value. And it will return the it will must stores the employee type of value. And inside the value, like here we are writing one statement, employee dot get instance. Why we write this statement? Because we are not able to create the object of employee here. We are not able to create the object of that employee class. Like what it's showing, the constructor employee is not visible. And why it is not visible? Because we already make it private type. And the the values, the variables which are prefixed with the private access modifiers, that are accessible only within the class. Like we are accessible that variables only within that specific class. And that is why we are not able to create the object of that class here. And that's the main reason of singleton class, why we use singleton class. And here we use factory method. Like it is returning the address, right? Returning the address of that employee object, understand? So that is why we call it as factory method also. And we are calling that method with the help of class name employee, because this one is the static method, employee dot get instance. And if we try to access that value again, like if we try to get that value e2, if we try to access that e2 value, e2 value is hash code, e2 dot hash code, yes, a2 dot hash code, the value, the 1096283470, which is the hash code of e1, which stores the address of employee dot which sorry e1, and the value which is written by the e2. that is the hash code of E2 and E1 here will be same. Like if you are trying to run the program, we will get the same output as well. Okay, here we are getting the same output. And if you also want to compare that both the values, that is hash codes, then you can simply type e1 equals to e2. Here it will also here it will also returns true, because the values address means each and every time it will returns the same address. And that's the main purpose of the singleton class, that it returns each and every time it returns same value. Like here if here we are creating the object of employee type, and we are calling the address. Like how it executes, I will tell you. First control, the main method is present inside that employee driver. Here is no any main method, so we should compile that employee driver class. And after that it our JVM comes here inside the main method. And after that it will search like this, employee even, hey, what is this employee? And it will go to that employee class. It will go to employee class and checks whether the employee dot get instance, that is static method, which is of static method. Like static methods where we are accessing directly with the help of class name. And what is our class name? Employee class. Employee is our class name. And employee dot get instance is the method which is factory method, which returns the address. Like e1 equals to new employee means e1 is initializing with the address of that employee class. And it will return that address, like where we are calling that method, calling this get instance method. That is, here it will returns that address and store inside the reference variable e1. And here we are in printing statement, that is system.out.println, we are trying to access the hash code of that e1 reference variable, which is of employee type. And the hash code is 1096284347. The hash code which is the hash code of the e1 reference variable. And here we are creating the another reference variable of e2, another reference variable employee e2. Now in normal classes we are able to create multiple objects of the same class. But in singleton class, we are able to create the object of the class only once at a time. And here we are already created that object, that is e1 object already. And we are printing that also, printing the hash code of that reference variable also. And after that we are creating another reference variable again. And at that time what is the job of the singleton class is, it will create the object only once. And here we are creating it already in and which is stored inside the e1. Now e1 does not have any null value. E1 is initializing with that object. Now whenever we now here we are here we created another reference variable of employee type, and we are calling that get instance method. And E1 has already one object, that is E1 already has already initialized with the new employee type of object. And here it will come here and check E1 equals to null. It is false, because E1 is already initialized with that new employee object. Then if it if that condition will not get satisfied, then it will not entering in the if block. It will enter if it will directly execute that return statement, that is the value which is already stored inside that e1 variable will return to the get instance method. And get instance method will return that address inside the e2. And if you are trying to print the hash code of e2, we are getting the same value which is same as that of e1 hash code. And if we are also trying to print the e1 equals to e2, that is what is the job of equals to operator? It will compares the address of that object, not the values which are present inside that object. And that time we are getting true here inside the output. If you are running this program, that is employee driver class, then we are able to see that hash code values and the even equal answer of even equals to e2, which is true. That means it seems that the address of e1 and e2 is true. If you are trying to create another object like employee e3 equals to employee dot get instance, at that time here inside, right, I will type system.out.println and e3 dot hash code. Here here we can see we are able to once minute e3 dot hash code e3 dot hash code e3 dot hash code employee type e3 I think e3 is already initialized. E4 dot hash code ah solve. Okay, and now here inside e1 there is one hash code present, inside e2 there is one hash code present, inside e4 there is one hash code present. Now if you and already here we are comparing e1 equals to e2. It seems that the hash code which is present inside the e1 and hash code which is present inside the e2 is same, and that is why it is returning true. And now you can clearly see that inside that singleton class only one object is reinitializing that object address, that is inside e2 also the same address, inside e4 also the same address. And if you are trying to compare the e4 equals to e2, it will again returns the same value, that is true, it will return true. Yes, and that is the main purpose of singleton class, that we are able to only create only one instance at a time. We are not able to create multiple instance at a time, and that's the main reason that we are using the singleton class. Thank you.